it's a deep sigh, Brian.
Yeah, I know. I'm just, ooh. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it looks like maybe we're going to get a bounce here on the SPY. This would be a logical, well, yeah, logical place to take it, but here we go. Taking, hmm, this is most profitable trading right now.
Okay. Um,
Just
we're
shorting everything I find.
we're gonna have to sign you up for those cultural sensitivity classes again.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay, so SPY is trying to hold this. Is this the low of day area here? I think it is. No, it's an area where we were kind of broke out from, and it's a moving average on the 15. So it's trying to hold here.
And sorry, what are you trading, Brian?
I was shorting TGI,
TGI.
and I
Oh,
was
that was
I've
one
been
of our morning.
flipping back and forth between. I've been flipping so much. I was in TNA when we started to when we broke the trend line, and then when it started to, and then I took some profits on it and got out, and then it started to really fail. Then I got
Oh
into
my God,
VIX.
I'm not paying attention here. I gotta take a. I missed my partial. I'm gonna take another partial on Facebook. I am so out of shares. You know what? I'm just closing it out. I'm closing out Facebook.
Close.
I've got like so
And
few
and then,
shares left.
yeah, and this TGI stock just been is really been selling off here. It's been a nice trade.
Okay, now I'm down to two. Then there were two.
So what do we got? SPY has been trying to hold this area right here. I know. I've got 8 charts up, and I just keep trying to think. Okay, what would be the best if now that the market's selling off? What would be good to trade?
All right, we're back. We lost Mike. Mike had system failure, I think. He's back.
Okay.
You're not on the mic in the
What do we?
room, though, Mike.
Wow, UAL is TOUR tour. What is that? Let's see. That's one a small cap. Not interested. So what do we got now? We've got a half an hour left. It's going to be interesting to see how we close the day. Really wishing I had taken more Boeing on that trade.
Brian, there's no
Still,
room for coulda, shoulda, woulda in trading. Come on.
I'm still looking at that Boeing trade, and I'm thinking, why didn't I should have really that was a nice setup.
There's
It's
plenty
always
of woulda, coulda, shoulda in trading. It's just not good for you
yeah.
over
Okay,
the
fair
long
enough.
term.
We're not supposed to do that. We in hindsight, Brian, there's a lot of trades that look absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Like he's so upset, I drove him away. Attack with all of you.
Yeah.
Come on, Bank of America
That,
is very disappointing. I took all of Facebook off because I was at basically the $5 mark, $5 drop on Facebook from where I entered it, and not quite, but within
nice.
20 cents. And I only had I had so few shares left. I'm like, I'll just take it off. But that would have been such a mammoth trade, massive, had I held. I took it with like 30 cents risk, and I got $5 on it. So But because I took it with 30-cent risk, like I took my first partial at 231 because I
Yeah.
took it at 231.30, and then I was partialing on the way down. Like I hardly, so I had like, you know, by the time we were like $2 away, I think from my entry, I only had about 20% because I wasn't expecting to get down that, and then went another $3. You know, when you, I guess I could have like regrets on that if I just held, but you don't know, right? That's why you take partials.
Yep.
Mm.
That's exactly why.
It would have been a mammoth trade for me. It really would have. But anyways, I'm still in AMD. And I'm still, so I'm short AMD and I'm long Bank of America. So I haven't taken a partial on Bank of America in hours. When did I take my last partial? I took my last partial. God, I don't even know. Yeah, 2 hours ago. I took my last partial 2 hours ago on Bank of America. I did this once before last week, didn't I? All right. Let's see if there's any more exciting trades we can get into. Wow, you're watching Twitter, Mike? I know you were trading it, but you can almost be happy you didn't. Look at that crazy move.
Oh yeah. I
Down.
I just took it short off that VWAP because it just been consolidating, and it seemed like every time it came up to the pre-market high, that people were getting in to kind of take it for a short. So when it broke, I took it. I took the first partial, I think at the 100 moving average on the 1 minute, but I look at the two, so it was the 200 moving average is what I got on my 2 minute.
Right, but the thing is,
and then I got stopped out, and then I missed the other big moves. So yeah, it's yeah.
Well, all the moving averages on the 1 minute were above the price action, so I mean it's reasonable to expect it to drop. But anyways,
It just, and then you get news. You get news, and look at the market. You just
yeah.
You're good if you're in short. You're not, but if you're in long, you're like, man, what just happened?
Yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean,
indeed.
I just took a look at MU and made like an 80-cent move
Oh wow! Yeah,
in
look
a
at that
matter
move.
of like 10 minutes. That's huge for MU.
Yeah. Now I would expect a sell-off. I would think on Twitter. I don't know. It seems like they would be reasonable to expect that, but who knows? This market is not always reasonable. You gotta follow what the technicals
Twitter
tell
is
you.
just doing whatever it wants today.
Yeah. And yeah. Well, that's true.
Just, I will be glad for the month of May to be over with. Start afresh.
Well, yeah. May's not been a good month for you.
Not really, not a good month. I mean, it's just been a rough month. Things just not working the way I want. But nothing terrible. Yeah. SPY. There we go again. Going to make another leg down, it looks like.
I hope so. I hope so. Here we go. I actually shorted Twitter. I'm going to get out of... I'm going to cover some here. I'll move my stop here to break even.
Where'd you get in at when it lost those moving averages?
32.13. A little...
Nice.
I felt like I was chasing it a bit, but I got it sort of on that pop. Here we go. I shouldn't have taken... I took some off early because I was a little nervous about it, but...
Yeah, patience was the name of the game today. So, if you caught the first couple moves in the open, you were good, and then you just kind of had to wait the market out.
AMD, I was going to take AMD, but I thought I'd be chasing it to do that, so I didn't, but I wish I had now. Okay, I'm going to take a partial here at 32 just in case I get a bounce. Come on,
so
SPY.
Everybody in the chat will be having Dr. Katz coming on if you haven't seen his name up there. So if you got questions you'd like to ask, please prep them. I know I got a question for him. Kind of, Peter, you kind of sparked it yesterday, talking about when you see everybody doing good and the trader fallacy where traders like to share good stuff, but the hard stuff in the back sometimes doesn't get posted. But when you're in the chat, you don't always see all those struggles, so it can get discouraging sometimes.
Yes,
You're not
Good afternoon,
getting
guys.
to the point where you want.
Dr.
Hey,
Katz.
Dr. Katz, how you doing?
Fellas, how are you today?
Just,
Good.
Great. I'm just, guys, watching carefully here. I'm going to take another partial. Come on, I'm hoping Twitter just keeps going. Keep going for me here, buddy. Don't pull back. Don't pull back. I will you to go down.
I will you to go down.
All right, I'm taking a partial anyways. All right.
Twitter.
Dr. Katz, I just I killed Brian's camera. If you wanted to take over the camera in the room, you're welcome to do that.
Okay, let me do this. I just have gone. I just got finished with makeup and hair, so I should be good.
How could you possibly get any better than you normally are, sir?
Because Bear Bull Traders has provided that for me.
Wait, why don't I have a makeup artist?
There we go.
Now I'm upset.
Well, Peter, some people have called you Mr. 10, so there's not much you can do to improve your status
10.
there, right?
Hey, Dave, to answer your question, if you use that hotkey break even, what you might have to do is just click off the stock and re-click it, and that will typically allow you to use your hotkey to partial again.
Andrea,
that's what.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's what I use to get around it. There's probably a way to program it so you don't have that error, but I just do it the old-fashioned way.
I'm just going to ask Andrea if she's been paying attention, because if we get free hair care, I'm getting ripped off.
I wish we got free hair care.
Or I want free hair. That's maybe that's a different plan. I'm not on that benefits program. This Twitter is moving, but it's moving slowly here. What do we got? We've got 24 minutes. I'm going to take another partial here. Oh, no, what just happened? What did I just do?
What happened, Peter?
Oh, man.
So I got a question for you, Dr. Katz, as Peter's trying to figure out what's going on with
Sure.
his trade. That's what I felt like earlier today, Peter. Pressing
just-
the exit button and it wouldn't work.
Well, no, it wasn't that. I thought I had my share size set. Anyways, I just took it all off by accident. So I'm all out. All right, continue.
So, Dr. Katz, Peter kind of brought this up, I think, either yesterday or Monday. For some traders that are in the room that may not be performing to the level that they want to or that they think they're able to, but then they see everybody else in the chat posting really good trades and you see everybody else making money with ease, it can get frustrating sometimes to be that trader in a community that isn't quite making money necessarily or not achieving the goals that they've set out for. What would you recommend to them to keep their confidence up and keep their morale up?
So let me just start. That's a very good question. Actually, there's a kind of a more macro issue in our world today because social media has done this. There's been a lot of talk over the last couple of years about, for instance, in Instagram, even on Facebook, social media platforms where people are presenting the best of themselves. So you're only seeing, people's best cooking, how they look, the best pictures, the best vacations. And it does give this kind of warped or maybe a more skewed view of the world. So a lot of times people, in comparing their own lives to what they're seeing, are feeling less than, when that is really just kind of only a partial view of the world. This has actually caused a great deal of distress and among like adolescents and teenagers who whole lives about comparing themselves to others. But to your point, a lot of times people post good news. And so it may give the feeling that people are having a certain level of success when people are a little more hesitant or not as comfortable posting kind of the downside of their performance because they're already feeling bummed out. So the first thing I would say on a big picture level is be careful to take what you see as an accurate portrayal over of the overall data of how people are performing. There's just a human tendency to present oneself in a good light and minimize the downside. This is where developing relationships with other people, close, friends or people that you meet online, discussing your trading more openly and honestly, there because much more of an accurate picture where people feel comfortable enough talking about their downturns and their drawdowns and their tough days, as well as their good days. So I do think, here's the thing, we tend to only look at other people's performance, or we tend to focus on it a lot more when we feel less good about ourselves. So if you find yourself becoming too focused, overly concerned with how others are doing, the warning light should go off in your brain that there's probably something that is feeling uncomfortable, not as satisfying or fulfilling in what you're doing. And what's really more important at that point is to look at your own trading, what's working well, what's not working well, and trying to take corrective steps on that, as opposed to just focusing on other people's successes and somehow reinforcing your own feelings of failure at that time. When we're locked in and kind of zoned in on our own process and it's working well, we become less concerned with how other people around us are doing.
Yeah, very, very good points. That's definitely the truth. I remember reading, I can't remember what book it was, but I do remember reading the trader fallacy, where traders present themselves in a positive light, even though they may not be doing that. Mark has got a good question there. When in a trading community, you see other traders' playbooks and trading styles. When does a trader know when they should start kind of experimenting or making adjustments off those other styles so that they can become consistent with their own style?
Yeah, it's a very good question, Mark. What I would say is this. I think people, the real danger is when people it's like a baseball player who's trying a new batting stance every time they get in the batter's box. That's the clearest indication of a lack of confidence. I think you need to start with some styles and strategies that feel right for you and try them and give them an ample amount of time to see if they work for you, refining them, kind of talking with other people about them. I think there also needs to be an openness to looking at and exploring and researching and reading about, hearing about other styles. But it's very important that the style that you trade fits your personality and how you're wired. I was just speaking now about this with a very experienced trader yesterday, and this is the same thing that dovetails to the point before, that he finds himself listening to other people's trade ideas more so when he's not trading well, and the tendency is to try to do something that he's not that familiar with. So there's a delicate balance between sticking with something and try to refine a process that you want, but also being open to hearing about other styles and strategies. But I think if you're a newer trader, you want to kind of try to develop, you want to stick with a few things. Don't expand your kind of the net, so to speak, to focus on too many things, because that could be very consuming. I think you want to feel like you're comfortable and consistent in a style or strategy that has started to work. And then as you build up the confidence there, then you can spend some additional time trying to widen your playbook and knowledge area.
Yes, definitely good points.
Sorry,
Peter.
I've been just proving.
You struggling, Peter?
No, I've been proving a point in the background. I took a short.
Okay.
So, Dr. Katz, I've been on this streak where I've taken Microsoft short in the last 30 minutes for 6 days in a row. Today would be the 7th. So I just took a short Microsoft trade. I did it just because, and I basically took a 4-cent trade and I got out just to prove I could take a short in the last 30 minutes and keep the streak alive. So
well, it's interesting because I do remember that last Thursday, Peter, where you were doing that right while we were talking, and actually, yeah, you did a nice job there. I guess that was day 2-ish, or maybe day 2 or 3 of your streak.
there you go. Well, we're still doing it. I don't know how this started. It was completely accidental, but I guess that's how most of these things happen, right? So.
Just remember, Peter, at 10 till, we got to see if there's that spike on Microsoft today.
Yeah, exactly. It would be interesting to see, because it's been
That's been the witching hour for you?
Well, it's been pretty consistent. Where at 10 to 4, we get this big spike as people and a big volume spike as well in Microsoft. So we'll see if it happens again today.
Rebuilding confidence. What's a great way to rebuild your confidence in a strategy that's worked for a trader, let's say a couple months, and then all of a sudden it falls apart? What's a good way to rebuild strategies?
So yeah, I think one of the let me see. Let me just get at something here. One of the ways to do that is to I think to rebuild confidence, you want to try to do that gradually and incrementally. And so one of the ways is to try to just get into positions with very little size and little at risk, so that you're not feeling some of the emotional volatility that comes with the dollar volatility. You want to start feeling like you're picking winners, you're making good trading decisions, and that you're being right in your trades. And so if people, one of the ways is to take one of the kind of more emotionally charged variables out of the picture to a large degree, which is the dollar and cents aspect. And if you go in at small size, and then you're not dealing with the financial volatility associated with wins and losses, nor the emotional volatility that goes with the dollars. And you can just focus on trying to build up a conceit. I think when that you're able to do that, the confidence starts to build. And when the confidence starts to build with knowing that you're picking winning trades, then you slowly can and incrementally can build up the risk and the size that you get in, because your confidence can tolerate a kind of a little bit of a hit there being wrong, because you're feeling better and more comfortable and confident in your ability to pick winning trades. So that's kind of how I would start to get kind of back on the saddle and build some of the confidence back up.
Yeah, definitely.
So let me,
Kaiser over. Go ahead, Peter.
Well, I'll let you read that. I was just going to extend the offer to anybody in the room or anybody on YouTube if you want to ask a question. Don't be shy, but throw the question in. We'll try and keep track of them for Dr. Katz here. So, anyways, proceed.
Kaiser has a question. He's not a greedy person in general, but why can't he refrain from going into a new trade after he has a significant green trade? Then he usually ends up a bit red.
I'm sorry. The question is, after he's been successful in a trade, he has a hard time going back to the well?
So he takes a trade, he gets a good movement on the trade, gets his profits, and then he goes back to it and ends up giving everything back.
Yes. Well, this is an indication of two things. One is just straight up greed. Sometimes you feel like you're right and you kind of want to, I mean, it's just kind of a natural inclination. I was right and I made $1. Why not make $2? Except that if you have an entry and a target and a stop loss and it hit and you're kind of a disciplined focused person on your process, then what happens is you've then gone usually away from that discipline because it may have hit the target and then all of a sudden you're kind of focusing on the monetary gain that you've made and having a winner, and then you're not really relying then back on your process or being disciplined about your trading. So this is this can go two ways for people. We tend to sometimes get a little overconfident when things go well, and sometimes that kind of move is an indication of overconfidence. And then on the flip side, sometimes when we lose confidence by losing trades, we're unwilling to get into trades, even though our process and our plan indicates that we should. So I would be very careful, Kaiser, when you hit your target and you take money off the table, that you reset. You maybe take a quick break, kind of reset your mind. And when you come back to the trade, you got to reassess it with a fresh set of eyes as if it's a brand new trade, not one that you just made a killing on. It's a brand new trade. And so your past performance should impact right at that moment your current decision whether to get back in the trade or not.
Master Chief is asking, how do we avoid that feeling of greed? In essence, how do you control?
Okay, so you don't.
feelings?
Here's the thing: a lot of times when we have feelings we don't want to have, we want to. How do we avoid them? And feelings are feelings. I mean, sometimes we feel jealousy, greed, anger. It's really less about the how do we avoid them, but really more about what we do with them. So feelings are a great indicator. Strong feelings that are on extreme side, greed or anger or frustration. The key is to see what the trigger is for those feelings. What's generating those feelings? Because that's what we really need to attend to in order for these to go away. So the greed, it's not the problem that you're actually feeling greed. Basically, greed is I've made some money. I really want to make more. That's not a problem. It's just that what's a problem is that if you then act from a trading perspective in a more reckless way, where you're not following your process and you're not disciplined in your trading approach, that's the problem. So don't worry about feeling you want to make more money. It just means that the way to make more money is that to follow your plan and your process and your strategy. So usually when any of these feelings come on, like frustration is another one. Well, usually frustration comes on because we have a goal that we want to achieve that's being blocked. And so like frustration comes when we have a bunch of losing trades. So it's more important to not worry about feeling the frustration, but then to see is, okay, can I look at these 3 trades that I just lost money in to identify some patterns in here of what the problems were, to kind of, again, take away from that situation some information that is actually that can help me trade better, in a more positive, constructive way. So the feelings, don't worry so much about the feelings. Take the feelings as a symptom of an underlying, of underlying issues. And if you can get to what those underlying issues might be, then you have a chance to kind of correct them and work on them.
Yeah, excellent points, definitely.
So, Mike, I'll just say 350 came and went. We did not get our daily spike today,
Yeah.
so it's not completely reliable.
Didn't get that spike. Did
No.
you see that Twitter? Did you take Twitter off of your page?
Oh, I did. I only. Oh my God. Oh, I could have still been in it. I could. Oh. Oh no.
Yeah. Sorry about that, Peter. Sorry.
Oh, well, that's all right. I thought it was okay because when I accidentally got all out, it was starting to move higher. But then, oh my goodness. Oh well. I was just watching. I was watching Bank of America, which hit my stop and just kept going. Man, it's losing it now. There's one good piece of good news. I'm still in a few shares of AMD, so riding that downwards here. So at least I've
Riding
got
that
to
all the way down.
solace my angst.
One last point on that, the question there before.
Yes.
One of the things that I think people need to pay attention to is sometimes the tendency when trades are going well and you're having some winning trades is that people sometimes tend to speed up the process. Like they get really hyped and excited, and then all of a sudden they just want to jump into the next trade or the next trade, feeling like anything they're throwing against the wall is going to stick. So we get a little full of ourselves sometimes. And so it's really important, just from a pacing point of view, is to really, slow down when you've had a good trade and you sense that sometimes you get overly excited or fired up and highly motivated. Just make sure that you're pacing of assessing each trade and being disciplined about looking at what's going on so you continue to make good trading decisions. Don't worry about like you're going to miss the next trade and that you have to speed up, because the very disciplined, good, solid, even-keeled pacing that has led to your winning trades is really the key. And very often people do the opposite when they're getting overly excited and wanting to kind of gain more because they're on this hot streak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. But
Only indirectly
the
related.
hot
but
streak.
Case in point about having a hot streak. So let's use a real example. I'm just looking at this, guys. Microsoft. Actually, I don't usually show my trades, but let me bring it up like I do sometimes here. I'll just show you where my trade was. So on Microsoft, look, I was forcing a trade.
Peter, can you share your screen in the chat?
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I keep forgetting that I wasn't sharing in the room. Apologies for that. Here we are. So because I was so eager to prove a point and take a successful trade, I took this trade, which was really forcing it, when my technical setup would have been right here. This would have been the right place to take a trade, and if I was just trading normally when I should have. So I robbed myself of a good opportunity by trying to force this early trade. And to your point, Jonathan, it's about sometimes you just got to stick with your process and try and not trade for the from an emotional basis, I guess. Had I traded from a technical basis, I would have taken a very different trade.
Peter, do you think that today that contributed? You wanted to keep this streak alive and you were already set on taking this trade because you've been taking it so many days in a row, and then that kind of got your thinking and your process a little out of whack?
Absolutely. Oh, I know it did for sure, because it's been like that for a couple of days because you end up wanting to, it's. I'm not doing a fair technical analysis when I know I am going to take a short trade on Microsoft in the last 30 minutes. Right? Like that's
right.
Like I'm
because what you're
force
basically saying is, I don't care if the warning signs tell me not to do it, man. I've already decided when I got up this morning, had my breakfast, that I was going to do this. I know it sounds funny. I'm busting your chops a little, but this is what happens sometimes. People get a preconceived idea of what they want to do, and then when the information or data doesn't support doing it, they're locked in on doing it anyway. And so this is where I think being flexible and nimble and open-minded is hugely important, so that you can see stuff that may go contrary to your original thinking.
TK Green has a good question. How to get rid of the red day blues? Is there a way to clear the mind and move forward?
And so I'm saying, like a heavy dish of pasta or half a bottle of wine. That's not the answer you're looking for. No. Here's what I would say. I think, listen, it's fine to be bummed out when things don't go well. I think what you want to do the most constructive way is to spend some time after the trading day and try to really look at your trades and try to identify some of the areas where you didn't maybe perform very well. And if you can come away from that with some ideas, some corrective, constructive, positive measures that you can take into the next trading day, then it doesn't take the total sting away from the loss. You want that sting because that could be a helpful motivating force, but you feel like you've got a bunch of extra strategies or tools to take you into the next day that can help you become a better trader. So from the loss, you want to have a gain. You know, that's what kind of failure actually allows us to do. It kind of can force us to look more openly and honestly with what we've done poorly and well. And so I think that's how we get better at something. So that's kind of what I think is the most positive, constructive thing that one could take away from a particularly difficult day.
Yeah, definitely. We got question from Mark A. Any tips for handling fear when in a trade? He tends to take partials early and loses his unrealized potential.
So it
Not
sounds like
maximizing profits.
right. So sometimes there's two things on that. One is I think this is something that is important to work on off of the trading day. So there may be some mental rehearsal and visualization where you're kind of picturing trades. Trade you get in at 10 and your target is 15, and kind of seeing yourself having a strong pull to get out at 13, but like not acting on that emotional component and letting it get to the 15 mark. The other part is that incrementally you can plan on devising a pattern where maybe you incrementally move towards that. So you might be like in a position, let's just say you get in at 10 and you've decided beforehand, because emotionally it's very hard for me to let my winners run. You might have an interim agreement, like, okay, I'll take half of my position off if it hits 12, if it hits 12.5. And then that might ease some of it. But you have a predetermined plan, so you're not going just off of an emotion. And then, you know, over time, you can adjust that interim taking money off the table as a way of kind of working towards allowing your positions to kind of, you know, ride to their original target. But I think it's important to have a plan, both emotionally thinking through this, as well as kind of a technical strategic plan before the trading day starts, or you're going to gravitate towards the path of least resistance and do kind of what you normally have done, which is just respond to the emotions of, let me take some money off the table, without really identifying whether, and kind of minimizing the possibilities for the trade itself.
Yes, definitely. So going into the last minute of the market, make sure if you got any trades open that you don't plan on holding over, you get ready to close them out.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Mike. I had this bad habit of not using my trades.
Giving you that the reminder, Peter.
Yeah, no, I
know you had
appreciate you.
20
I appreciate you even pretending it was for everybody. That was nice. All right, we're good. I'm out of AMD. Happy. All right, and I think I'm flat. Yes, I'm flat on all positions. So, all right.
That's always good. So thank you, Dr. Katz, for joining us again. We truly appreciate it on Thursdays.
Sure. Good enough.
So,
guys, have a good day.
Look forward to your webinar next Tuesday.
On Tuesday. Yeah, very good. Look forward to that, Mike.
Yep.
Peter, you have a good day, and everybody out there, take it easy.
Thank you, Dr. Katz. Bye. Excellent. Dr. Jonathan Katz, out. All right.
I'm glad the trading day is over.
Are you? Yeah, well, you said you had a frustrating afternoon. I had another fun afternoon, I'll admit, because it's a little frustration. I am looking at it. I really did. Like, Microsoft actually had a great trade there. I should have just traded it properly, but I didn't. Anyways. Oh well. Okay, so
I know that when I go back to look at my journal today, I know I'm going to find that I was trading in ranges again. And it's
Yeah.
just going to infuriate me more because my one goal today was to ensure that I did not trade in ranges. And I know when I go back, I am going to see it. I'm just going to be like, what were you doing?
Yeah, well, look, if anything, if you want to give yourself a little bit of leeway, I mean, most of the day was essentially in ranges, right? Like, if you look at the SPY,
Yeah.
especially up until, when did the breakout really happen? Probably not until about 11:45, just before noon. Like, it was absolutely in a range. I mean, it was sort of in an increasing range, I'll grant you, but if I look at the SPY over the course of the day, if I look at, bounced off of this previous day high a couple of times, and, it wasn't until I said about 11:55 that it finally broke through that and put in something different. But anyways, you be as
Yeah.
angry with yourself as you
So-
want to be.
You genius. What do we mean by trading in ranges? It just choppy markets, right? You got an upper level and a support level, and the price action's just moving in between those two levels. And it will occasionally pop out just to trap people and then go back down and stop you out and just kind of go in that range. So I got trapped in it a couple times yesterday, and I made a conscious effort that I did not want to trade that again. And yeah.
DXC is reporting. So we got a few companies that are reporting earnings today. Guys, I don't think we're going to follow any of them because they're nothing that I would trade after hours. Especially with, frankly, they said that there's an expected announcement to come out after the market close on dealing with the social media companies. So that could cause some odd activity on the markets that, frankly, I just don't want to get caught in. So won't be something that I'm looking at, but if you feel so inclined, go ahead. But there will be lots of stuff to look at tomorrow morning. On my list, I've got CRM, which is Salesforce, Costco, Dell, DXC, which is my old company, or the new version of the old company. Anyways, Ulta, which is Ulta Beauty, and then Marvell Technologies. So those are the ones that I'm going to be watching. Oh, VMware too. That might. Now, you never know if they're going to move or not, but they all could have interesting earnings. That's all after the close tonight. Tomorrow morning, CGC is reporting. Oh, and Big Lots. Okay, so we got two that
CG, an interesting one. It did a good move up today. CGC did. It was hitting the scanners a lot.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, yeah, it did move up today. I don't think I really looked at it today. So
There wasn't anything really in the pre-market that you can really identify. I just know that it kept hitting the turbo breakup scanner and the high volume trending scanner today.
Huh.
Yeah, it's up there again.
Did they? So
Fourth one down.
Thanks, Andrea. I didn't realize that the White House had already released that press event.
Yeah, I think that's what drove the market down.
I see. Okay.
So, but Jeremy, that's something to be proud of. Not taking a trade in a choppy day like today. Focus on the fact that you stuck to your plan. Sure, you may have missed the short on AMD, but going out and chasing trades is a sure way to depreciate your trading account. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, guys, really quickly, as we mention every day, don't forget we've got some webinars coming up next week. Dr. Katz, who was just here with us, and Mike was just thanking him for that, is going to be delivering the How to Cope with Anxiety. That's next Tuesday, June the 2nd. Oh my God, is it June next Tuesday? Wow, look at that.
All right.
Yes, thankfully.
We'll be in June as of Monday, I guess. So there you go. And then the week after, on the June the 10th, we have Mark Randall coming to talk about Trader Mind Fitness. So as we said, it's like Mindful May, but I guess that spreads into June, Mindful June too. So anyways,
Yeah,
that's
a
next
little
week and the week after. Mike, maybe you could mention our podcasts and our discount
Yep.
codes.
And then we got our podcast here. It's on your favorite podcast device: Spotify, Captify, iTunes, Overcast, Pocket Cast. Search Talk with Traders, and you'll get podcasts of Peter interviewing traders within the community, as well as there's a couple in there from past interviews, as well as Dr. Katz is in there as well. So lots of great information out there. Be looking for new ones to be released shortly. Then everybody out on YouTube, if you're interested in trying out our chat room, you can use the code ClosingBell24 for a 1 week $24 discount. We encourage you to sign up. It's good for 7 days, so sign up for it on the weekend. Come to our onboarding class, which goes Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And that way you can be introduced to the community, get set up, and then trade the rest of the 5 days kind of with a little solid foundation that you got going on. If you'd like to sign up for a membership or upgrade your membership, you can use the code PODCAST for 40% off lifetime membership.
That's great. Thank you, sir. All right, guys. I'll just take a last look here. We had a few interesting things that traded today. I'm not sure. Is there anything you particularly would want to review on today, Mike? I don't have.
No, no.
No, like you said, you
I
just want to put it all behind you, right?
No, I will do that painful hour of review here shortly.
All right, fair enough. Z-scaler.
I may end up having to go on a second run.
Z-scaler moving up.
Yeah, I was just watching Z-scaler. Just called it up here. They reported.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
We've got some.
They shot up.
76 to 81. It's
Let's
popping
see.
higher.
Hold on. MRVL. They beat. They beat their numbers, top and bottom. Let's see what they're doing. They're up a little bit here.
Work's got some real topping candles here.
CRM.
Yeah, CRM's kind of jumping around here.
Their numbers look like I can't tell if these are final or they're.
I think they are.
Looks like they
they're at
missed their
82.
numbers.
Yeah, I think either missed them or just barely like a penny or something like that.
Yeah, I got two different reports here that say opposite things, but one says they beat their revenue barely by like $20 million off of $5 billion, and that they beat, you're right, their earnings per share by a penny. So,
right. Alrighty, guys. I'm going to call it a day. We'll call it a day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.
All right, sir.
See you in the morning, Brian.
Yes, sir. Have a great evening, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Later, Brian. All right. I was checking out while he was talking. Ulta reported. Looks like they missed their numbers. People are saying they don't even compare, though. They were way off their 68 cents earnings. They actually delivered negative $1.39, which is like, so that's 3 times. I don't know how you would even estimate that. 300% off. So yeah, that's it's way off their numbers. Yeah, but I'm not going to trade any of this.
So I'm gonna drop off Peter. Go grab
do.
a bite to eat and then come back and journal and get ready for tomorrow.
Hey, do your journal.
Everybody
That's good
out
for you.
there, have a great day. And I'm going to enjoy seeing my range trading. guarantee you, I was trading in a range today. It's just going to infuriate me,
Apparently,
but I will
stop
accept it.
Stop being so harsh with yourself, man. Give yourself a break.
I know.
Come on.
Yeah, I
right.
got to take the same advice that Dr. Katz just gave us, right?
Exactly. So there you go. Listen to the doctor.
Yep. So for
right,
everybody out there, see, you're not the only one that has bad days. So everybody have a great day.
Take care. Take care, everybody.